Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. So 5 state elections got over. 4 of them bagged by Bharatiya Janata Party. 1 swept by AAP. So here we are, and parties like Congress almost wiped off. Parties like Bahujan Samaj Party also almost wiped out. Let's discuss more on this. Let's get right into the show. Okay, let me first answer a question a lot of you wrote to me, asking me as to how could the analysis of a lot of great analysts in India go wrong about Samajwadi Party. All big people who are experts about Uttar Pradesh, how could their analysis go wrong? For starters, let me tell you something. Analysis should never be numbers. The moment you start talking numbers, then you are predicting. Then that is no longer analysis. But as far as analysis are concerned, what a lot of experts says is not really wrong. What they said is correct. You see, when you go into a market, when you go into a situation, an economy or market or constituency or whatever you call it, when you go there, when one product is rising very rapidly and another product that is the current market leader is falling, the analyst will come out and say that the edge is always for that product which is rising. Now, look at Uttar Pradesh as a market and look at 2 products. The market leader, Bharatiya Janata Party, the competitor, Samajwadi Party. Samajwadi Party got an increase of 64 seats. They got one seats. They increased their market share by 64 seats. And Bharatiya Janata Party, which was currently the market share, came down by 57 seats. So, does that mean that Samajwadi Party may form the government? No, possibly no. But that is why a lot of analysts said that your edge is always with Samajwadi Party. Now, let me draw a parallel. I had the same discussion with you when Bharatiya Janata Party lost in West Bengal. If you go to see, a lot of people said that Bharatiya Janata Party has got an edge. Why Bharatiya Janata Party has got an edge and why those analyses were not completely wrong is from 3 seats, they went up to 77 seats. They got an incremental of 74, whereas TMC got an incremental, of course they did, from 211 to 215 seats. They got an incremental of 4 seats. So if you look at it from an analysis point of view, the rapid growth has been of one brand, and that is of Bharatiya Janata Party. So that's what happened in West Bengal. So that's the point. That's the analysis part of it. So I hope I have answered a lot of your questions. So let's put that aside. Let's get into what the subject of the day is. Let's talk about first what happens to BJP post UP win. Now, a lot of people say that, you see, I too believe that the pathway to 2024 for Bharatiya Janata Party is much more easier now. Why? Because people are tremendously motivated. Bharatiya Janata Party workers are tremendously motivated. And states like Maharashtra, the Bharatiya Janata Party Maharashtra now is working 4 times more aggressively than what they were before. Because now they think that they want to even pull down the Maharashtra Mahavikas Aghadi government and form the government in Maharashtra. Whether that will happen or not is a different issue altogether. That's a different day's discussion. But the point is that there is all of a sudden revived aggression in the party workers, rank and file of Bharatiya Janata Party. After Bharatiya Janata Party's win in Uttar Pradesh, now Bharatiya Janata Party spreading this narrative or creating the narrative that therefore 2024 now almost is in their bag, which a lot of people in India also believe. The credibility to that kind of claim is more now. People will be, like I said, a lot of people already believe that. So that is the point number 2. The point number 3 is, you see, Bharatiya Janata Party till now was known by Modi and Amit Shah. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah. They were Bharatiya Janata Party. Narendra Modi, the supreme leader. Amit Shah, the brain behind the supreme leader. Now there is a third party, and that is Yogi Adityanath. I said this before and I want to repeat myself. Yogi Adityanath will never eye for Narendra Modi's position. I am not saying designation, I am not saying Prime Minister. Position as in position of as a supreme leader. He would be eyeing to replace an Amit Shah. That is what he would be eyeing to replace. And the fact that he knows that if he replaces Amit Shah, he goes one step ahead and replaces Amit Shah, the chances of him being the next prime ministerial candidate for Bharatiya Janata Party is as open as a freeway. Because Narendra Modi by 2025-26 will be 75 plus. So once he is 75 plus, according to his own admission, according to his own rule, he has to vacate his seat. If not, then we talk into 2025, 2026. But that being said, as on today, the second most powerful leader in Bharatiya Janata Party may no longer be Amit Shah, but would be Yogi Adityanath. Now, what those repercussions are, what are those, what that can do to Bharatiya Janata Party, what difference that will make in Bharatiya Janata Party, what Samikaran difference or what power balance difference that will make in Bharatiya Janata Party is something that we should be seeing, and it will be very interesting to see. Okay, this is as far as Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned. Good match, very probable, a very, very strong wicket. Now Bharatiya Janata Party is in very strong wicket, and let us see what happens in 24. That being said, there is no writing on the wall, there is nothing casted on stone and all that, nothing of that sort. But that being said, Bharatiya Janata Party is in good wicket. Now let us get to Congress after the absolute debacle in Punjab primarily and Uttar Pradesh. What happens to Congress? You see, Congress is reacting very typically the way Congress reacts. Sonia Gandhi offers resignation, children, that is, the siblings offer resignation. People said, no, please don't give resignation. Then maybe after some time, they will all reconsider. Then again, Sonia Gandhi will be the president, and again, Rahul Gandhi will be the the leader, the Priyanka Gandhi will be the second leader, and all of that. I don't think much is going to change. You know why I don't think much is going to change? Because I don't think Congress has a leader today who is willing to take up the responsibility. I don't think Congress's leaders who have been with Congress for maybe 40 years, 50 years, they are only used to power. They are only used to sitting in power by falling at somebody's feet, by literally, being a sycophant, by huzuri of one particular family. They've been so used to power. Now they do not know how to function without power. They do not know how to fight. They do not know how to handle an election. They do not want to take any responsibility. The Gandhis themselves said, we called a lot of leaders. Nobody came. Nobody came. Everybody will come for a CWC meeting. Nobody will go for an election meeting. Nobody will go and they say that, listen, you know what, we have to fight. We are losing. Nobody is going to take responsibility. So it is an assumption that the Gandhis are leading Congress. It's an assumption. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You see, Gandhis, to my mind, are the so-called Balika Bakra or the fall guys. So every time something goes wrong, every time election is lost, the entire blame, entire troll, everything is on Gandhis. Not one single leader of Congress is ever blamed for any losses. More than Sidhu and Channi, the loss of Punjab was on Rahul Gandhi's and Sonia Gandhi's head. Come to think of it. The point that I am trying to make is somewhere down the line, there is no leader in Congress who wants to lead Congress. They make a lot of sound bites, but nobody is serious about leading Congress, sitting in that chair and taking the bullet right on his chest if need be. His or her chest if need be. Nobody has got the guts. That's where Congress is headed. The problem is, forget about looking at Congress. So if you want to view Congress with the Gandhis. You cannot view Congress without the Gandhis, because nobody is going to be first on the line. They will do this G23. Very interestingly, I'll tell you this. I had met a Congress leader. I had met a very senior Congress leader. Okay. Met him privately in his office. And I asked him, I said, this G23 and all, what are you guys doing? Are you meeting? Are you, what decisions are you taking? Except for, saying that we need to do leadership, we need to have elections and all. What steps are you taking to actually ensure that those things happen? Are there leaders coming up? Do you have leaders who you have as options? So he said, we are thinking, but the problem is there's COVID now, so nobody is getting out of their homes. My God, that Bharatiya Janata Party was busy fighting elections in TMC. People with 70 years, 80 years, 90, 80, 70 years, 75 years were on the road fighting for Bharatiya Janata Party to ensure that Bharatiya Janata Party makes a mark in West Bengal. And our men were saying, COVID, and people, we are very scared. We don't get out, we can't, we do it through Zoom meetings and all that. But are these the people, these G23 going out and going to make Congress win? If that is what you're expecting, it will never happen. It will never happen. So it is not about the choice. It is about the lack of one. Congress does not have a choice. There are no other leaders in Congress. When you want to take Gandhis, if you don't have Gandhis, forget Congress. Think of somebody else. So that's the point that I wanted to make about Congress. Now let's talk about the advent of two parties who are trying to be now national party. One is the All India Trinamool Congress, and the second is Aam Aadmi Party. Two parties seeing a fantastic opportunity to be a national party, desperately trying to be a national party. Now the question is whether Mamata Banerjee has it in her or Arvind Kejriwal has it in him to be a prime ministerial candidate to stand in front of Narendra Modi and compete with Narendra Modi in 2024. That's what people are going to say. Second thing, can Mamata Banerjee and Arvind Kejriwal bring about all the other parties under his wing or her wing and then compete with Bharatiya Janata Party? Is it possible? If it is possible, then there is a chance of these people being a strong opposition. If it is not, then these people cannot be an opposition to Narendra Modi. Can't be. 2024 mein nahi hoga. By sheer numbers, by sheer current situation, the chances of more parties aligning with Mamata Banerjee is higher than parties aligning with Arvind Kejriwal. Mamata Banerjee combating with Narendra Modi, she almost does it on a daily basis. So, seen as somebody who can combat with Narendra Modi is far more higher than what Arvind Kejriwal is. Thirdly, Mamata Banerjee, in the form of Mahua Moitra, in the form of Derek O'Brien, and in the form of other leaders, seems to be having more leaders lined up with her than Arvind Kejriwal. Arvind Kejriwal is single leader. Arvind Kejriwal alone. Whereas Mamata Banerjee seems to have a little more than what number of leaders than what Arvind Kejriwal has. So the fact remains that a lot of people who are not so for Bharatiya Janata Party, any party wins, any party does well in a particular political election, they would immediately term that particular party to be a probable prime ministerial candidate. I think Arvind Kejriwal is also enjoying that surf, but by the looks of it, the chances of Mamata Banerjee proving to be a better opponent to Narendra Modi in 2024 is higher than what Arvind Kejriwal is. That said, what can create an opposition in 2024? You see, whether Rahul Gandhi is the head of Congress, or whether Mamata Banerjee becomes the opposition leader, or whether Arvind Kejriwal can be the new opposition face, I don't think this will make any difference to creating an opposition front. I think if you go back to our own history, we will realize how oppositions were built and how effective opposition could bring about a change in the government. Look at our own history. When Jayaprakash Narayan tried to pull the then juggernaut, the impregnable Mrs. Indira Gandhi, he did that with a movement in hand. And that movement was Indira Hatao Desh Bachao. There was a movement that he took to ground. He got the entire people of India glued or backing that movement, and that made a change in the government. When at one stage, Rajiv Gandhi's Congress seems to be invincible, again, supersedes in the Lok Sabha election, and the whole world thought that this is not going to change. What changed is another proposition brought about a gentleman called VP Singh, who was not a great leader and all that. I still don't believe he was a great leader. But at that point in time, he brought about a proposition that the country bought, and that changed the government. And that is when Congress was defeated and the third front came into existence. A party like Bharatiya Janata Party, which had 2 seats in the Lok Sabha, governed this country because they brought about a proposition that people bought, and that was Mandir Wahi Banayenge. That proposition people bought, right, wrong or otherwise. The people bought that proposition. And even if today Bharatiya Janata Party is functioning thanks to that proposition. India Shining was a fantastic proposition by Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The whole world and its mother thought that Atal Bihari Vajpayee is going to have the second term in 2004. But Aam Aadmi ko kya mila? The proposition that Congress brought about made a difference. The Anna Hazare movement made a difference for the Narendra Modi to come to power. The point that I am trying to say is it has never been a leader that made all the difference. It has been a proposition. What we are searching for is who. What I am saying is what we should talk about is what. We should move away from who to what. Who is the leader is not so much so important as what is the proposition that we need, that needs to be put into people's mind, which people will buy. Because it has always been proposition that has changed leadership, that has changed regimes. Not so much so leader. Leader is very important because he or she is the person who delivers the proposition. But the fact remains that it has always been the proposition that made a difference. That's the point I wanted to make today, and that is my analysis of what happened in the last 3-4 months, which was very exciting, and what could happen in the next few years. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.
नफरतों का बाजार, सपनों का कारोबार जारी है। अच्छे दिन तो झांकी थे, अमृतकाल अब बाकी है। मन की बात आप तक पहुंचती है, लेकिन आपकी आवाज का क्या? जिन्हें लोकतंत्र का चौथा स्तंभ कहते थे, वे अब सत्ता की गोद में हैं, सत्ता के सामने नतमस्तक हैं। लेकिन अब भी कुछ आवाजें हैं, बेखौफ, बेबाक, जिन पर लोगों को भरोसा है। चेहरा बदला है, तेवर वही है। देखिए मुझे, सतीश शाह को, HWD न्यूज़ पर।